All right, guys, welcome back to another Complexity Cast presentation, bringing you Game 2 in this best-of-3 series. We have Vote taking on Fortune Bakery. Vote up 1-0 right now. Can they close it out, or will Fortune Bakery bring it back to a rubber match? I'm your casting host, Beef, and joining me is Emperor, a.k.a. Brized of Domain of Pain. You excited for Game 2?
I am ready. This one is right off the bat already here too. They're already pretty well into the banning and locking phase. Pretty similar locks here, blind bans here from last game. The Tundra and the Monkey King seen once again. I guess Fortune Bakery does not want to have to deal with the keeper pick. Maybe they don't run it as much themselves, even though they're first pick here. And a Parasite joining the keeper in the banning phase as well. Maybe it has something to do with the kind of strat they're running this game or whatever. I don't think Parasite was actually blind last game. I believe it was actually banned out in the normal banning phase. Again, we see a couple supports here locked. A Luna followed up by a Glacius, making sure that, you know, if they're going to draft a Luna out of that phase, they'll have a Glacius in response. So maybe we're looking at some supports being picked out of the lock phase this time. Interesting follow-up with Pandemonium. That's kind of a pick that I feel like Fortune Bakery is comfortable with, but, you know, Vote, I don't think that's something that they would feel comfortable picking. So Fortune Bakery has the option of picking at Panda, but otherwise they can just go for other drafts out of that lock pool too if they just want to leave that as a dead pick.
Yeah, and that Panda would be very interesting to see. You said Fortune Bakery, a little bit comfortable with that hero, but definitely not something you see every day. And I would be excited to see that one. That would be
Okay,
very fun.
I not so much lately, but up until the recent weeks, I've played a lot of TMM with Mookies, and that's pretty much his go-to hero every TMM game. So it is not just a troll lock. He does play that hero very well.
Yeah, it is a very strong hero, and of course with the physical stuns going through shrunken heads, very, very strong hero for lockdown. A great anti-carry. We'll see if he does get picked up though. Bans coming out now. We do have Pebbles being first banned here by Cookies, followed up by Engineer Wild Salt. Now Wild Salt was not blind banned. It's a little bit interesting to you that he didn't make it into the lock pool.
All that says, all that says. Sorry, I'm choking here. All that says to me is that Fortune Bakery was not planning on running it this game, and Vote didn't want them to first pick it in case they did, so Vote wasn't locking it, so they just, yeah, sort of went with it that way.
Okay, all right.
A little bit interesting, but yeah, I've seen teams deal with him, but he is so powerful in that suicide lane. There's a lot of teams do not have experience, not only in that lane alone, but how to play with a Wild Soul on your team as well.
All right. Continuing with the bans here, of course, we did start with Pebbles, Engineer, Wild Soul, Meraxis, and Torture. The last ban going to be coming out of Swindle Melons is, in fact, Nymphora. So, Swindle bans Engineer, Meraxis, Nymphora. A pretty gank-heavy lineup on those bans right there.
Yeah, Meraxis last game. I mean, there was tons of aggression coming out from Vote, and if we saw any other hero but Meraxis pretty much in his place, there would have been successful ganks across all over the place. So they're just like, screw it, we're not dealing with it again. That Engineer, he really did pick up in popularity, mostly because of the dual mid metagame picking up and how powerful he is in that lane. So
We'll see first pick Draconis coming out of Fortune Bakery. So
well, Cookies was known, you might remember, for bringing Draconis to the scene. He is the one who unleashed the beast upon New Earth, so very comfortable with that hero.
Okay. We'll see what the return picks are here for Swindle Melons, as I, in fact, just heard it raining real quick. I need to go shut my windows. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Sorry about that, guys. It was a gorgeous day for it's been raining all week, right? And I opened up my windows today because it was gorgeous outside and wanted to get that nice breeze flowing. And now it's pouring rain again. So sorry. I wanted to make sure that wasn't going to get my house flooded or anything. Of course, that'd be ridiculous. Bubbles Magnus coming out here.
Yeah,
So
I was going to say, of course, if I was facing against Vote, I would actually start looking at teams banning bubbles more often. That really seems to be their highest priority go-to pick if they can get it. And it's rarely locked by them, but they, usually locked by another team, actually. They just wind up drafting it if possible, but they always seem to pick it up if it's available as their go-to hero. And, it's versatile, as I said before, and I would consider banning it against them at this point.
Yeah, Slicks played fantastic last game. We'll see if he can do it again, if that is in fact the player that they choose to run that hero with. Skyzo, of course, plays a great one. Now, going back to the other side, Draconis, I mean, with that first pick, you can set up a team to really try to shut down a Draconis, or you can just think about maybe letting him do his thing and trying to out-farm him. Vote right now, they have a very gank-aggressive lineup, but looks like Fortune Bakery follows it up with Prophet and Pharaoh. So the other bird is going to be making his way into this lineup.
Yeah, Pharaoh. I kept feeling like he was such a strong support hero. I just haven't been seeing enough of him lately. We saw a little bit of play throughout DreamHack. He's seen little scattered bits of play here and there. He was locked the last game, but not picked up. And I just think that hero has so much potential. Just puts out so much damage if you're able to get into good positioning with him. His only downside is he doesn't have too much lockdown. Initially in laning, it's like a 0.5-second stun. Yes, there is follow-up, but if people are spacing 600 range away, it can be pretty hard to actually get your damage off. But outside of that, such a strong hero.
Fade actually coming out as the first pick here out of the locks, as Silhouette was the last pick over there for Vote. Now let's talk about the Silhouette real quick. We saw it last game on King Plato. This time it's going to be for maybe Keizu, who I believe is very comfortable with that hero. And Vote going to try to out-farm this Draconis possibly as they both go into a carry-type game.
Yeah, a lot of Draconis' damage is mitigated against sort of shrunken head carries too. Silhouette does go that route quite a bit. She's also the other primary ranged carry outside of Draconis. Range agility carry, that is. And when you look at, I think there's Moon Queen, there's FA, but you really look at Silhouette and Draconis as those two steroid farm ranged carries. Silhouette has actually been seeing quite a bit more play and pickup lately compared to Draconis, though, so I'm sure Vote is just fine with getting that Silhouette pick instead of the Dragon.
Yeah. All right. They've actually rounded it out here. So the lock pick phase first pick was Fade. GG Slayer is going to grab that one. A very aggressive lineup coming out over there. Response to that is Ophelia and Aluna for Vote. So Z-Freak going to be on the jungling girl once again. Aluna goes to Swindle Melons, gets a more traditional support this time, and to finish it all out, a Tempest going to be on Mookies over there for Fortune Bakery. So I look at both of these teams and I see strengths for sure. Vote's team a lot more standard over for Fortune Bakery, though. I mean, with that bird in there, and of course the Fade that we really don't get to see too often because she is considered so strong. God tier hero, banned, blind banned, regular banned. She just does not make it in very often. And I mean, really, what do you think about these two teams?
I like the aggression coming out of. Oh, there goes the remake.
Yeah.
But I like the aggression coming out of Fortune Bakery's lineup. Fade Pharaoh is always fun to watch. Fade on her own, very powerful ganker. If you're able to combine heroes like Aluna, or Pharaoh, any sort of more global or long range presence on top of that, it just increases her ganking effectiveness. Make sure that there's like a larger range of a larger window of heroes that you can actually just go sort of one shot combo. So I do like that a lot. Really, really powerful initiation. Meanwhile, the Vote lineup looking incredibly powerful. I always like seeing Silhouette combined with heroes like a Magmus, like an Aluna. A lot of those line stuns and lockdown coming out should be really powerful. On top of that, they have the really strong push coming out from Ophelia. Will the initiation, will the Fade, will they be able to stop it with Fortune Bakery's lineup?
Yeah, we'll have to see. Are you in this game? You are.
I'm in the game. Do you have an invite? Yeah, okay.
I just wanted to make sure we were both in it. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I love seeing Fade. We cast a game last week where Swindle Melons was playing Fade. Of course, it's on the opposite team this time. But Swindle Melons on that hero was doing so well. Had the portal key, had the striders, and a bound eye, and was just able to buy so much map control for his team. And that's really what that hero affords you, is the spacing that you need in order to get that map control. get it done, buys your team farm, makes the other team afraid to farm, and really controls their resources.
Yeah, you actually look at a hero like Ophelia, though, and you must say that that does seem really, really effective against a Fade. I mean, when you're against a Fade, it does help to group up and push. Less heroes getting picked off, less of that sort of resource control coming into play. And on top of that, you do have the global heal to try to, sort of counteract some of the ganks that you might try to do.
All right. We, of course, did have to remake this game, guys. They wanted to go back to a different server. Let's check the server right here. We are, in fact, on East once again. We were on a West server last time, but for some reason, Slicks was pinging harder to that West server than he had been with the previous East servers. So both teams agreed to remake on East, and in fact, that's what we're going to be doing. But now, going into these games, we're going to get Game 2 of of Vote versus Fortune Bakery. Gosh, Trademark's on my mind. I'm looking forward to that one. I think as soon as we're done here, Bryce, I'm going to be going over to cast the replays of Complexity versus TDM. You think you might want to join me for that one?
Yeah, I'll join you. I might need a 5-minute break, but other than that, I'm down to jump.
Yeah, 5-minute break. I haven't eaten all day, and I've run out of water once again, so I'll need a break for sure. But we still have 1 or 2 more games here before we need to start worrying about that one, guys. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of you want me to cast the Complexity and Trademark games right now, guys. But HoNcast was scheduled to cast that one. We were scheduled to be on this game. I've committed to this series, so we're going to go ahead and get this one finished up, and then we'll get the replays cast as soon as we have them from Complexity. So have no fear. You'll see it first right here on Cole Scrims. So.
Yep, excellent job there by Skyzo starting things off, placing the ward down into the neutral spot, blocking the pull. Wind up using 2 shell surfs to get there before Fortune Bakery was able to react. Meanwhile, we see Fortune Bakery did get their wards off and set up already as well. And they actually, I don't know if they blocked the medium camp there with that ward, but it is too far south and they don't want to have that detected. So the lanes here, looking at that Suicide Pharaoh, Tempest starting off with the deny. Suicide Pharaoh is already, relatively strong, and now with that deny, should be helping him out quite a bit. Silhouette is incredibly effective against a Suicide Pharaoh, him being a melee hero, and that Salvo just being able to do so much work stacking up against them as they go for last hits. The mid matchup, Fade's definitely going to have a rough time here against this Luna Magnus, one of the most powerful dual lanes you can actually place mid. If she's not careful, even as soon as level 2, she can get dropped, so she just has to worry about staying on the edge of that experience range while avoiding the initiation from Magnus.
Yeah, that Fade, of course, gets good farm, able to do a lot of things, but also here that can be shut down. And actually, the Lava Surge going to come in right there. Will the Emerald Lightning or Power Throw be following? Not going to follow it up. Knew that even if he had gotten the last auto attacks off right there, might not be low enough. Magnus might want to come back in right there, but needs about 5 more mana. Yeah. Needs 5 more mana for that stun, and as soon as he has that, you can sure bet that they want to go for the kill onto this Fade. So we'll keep a close eye on this one, although in the bottom lane, Prophet trying to run down this Bubbles, getting a few auto attacks off, although with a Tree Eater, it looks like Skyzo's able to get himself out of trouble.
Yeah, a little bit surprised they started off Fade alone there in middle. I guess she's just in the experience, and maybe they figured that, Prophet Fade's going to lose out versus Magaluna anyway, but I don't know. A little bit interesting they started out. Maybe Prophet's is working on keeping Bubbles out of XP range here, and then he's planning on transitioning to middle. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, we'll see. And that would be interesting to see. Now, I got to point something out. Games that I cast yesterday, once again, Trademark versus One Trick Pony. Trademark ran a solo Fade short, and Noob G actually played that solo Fade short. He was going up against a dual lane. I believe that it was a Magnus. I can't remember what the support was. I want to say it was a Glacius, but I can't be perfectly honest. And Fade actually got the top farm in the game somehow in that short lane against that dual stun lane, but it was kind of crazy. So we'll see if Cookies can emulate that one. And Fade ended up going on to do great things in that game, being played by Noob G of all people.
Yeah, so far a nice start. 4 CS. Uh-oh.
Yeah, in some trouble perhaps, but no, Prophet to the rescue. Might even try to turn this around a little bit. A nice Lava Surge Power Throw combination, though, and getting a little bit of damage done. But now that Prophet is down here, like you had mentioned, keeping that Bubbles out of range, getting the experience lead for Draconis, and then just taking off, saying, Draconis, all right, King Plato, you can handle your own from here on out. And that's what he's in fact done. Now going to make his way mid and try to get a babysit on for his fade.
Yeah, really, really good job there. It never hurts to have your short lane start with such a massive advantage. Because now Bubbles, Draconis normally would do pretty good against Bubbles, but now with that advantage, he should absolutely dominate him and be able to control that lane so well. So yes, they did take a hit to mid, but I thought Cookies actually played it really well. It looked like both there didn't quite get lane control. Maybe when they attempted to kill the Fade a couple times, and they wound up pushing the wave because of the stun, because of the auto attacks coming out, and it actually went over to his tower. He did pick up the experience that he needed, and he is closing in on his bottle already, despite that strong early dual mid against him. So he's not doing so bad.
Okay. This top lane, Silhouette, he's doing work against this Pharaoh, of course, and Pharaoh was actually gone for a Scarab very early on here. You typically see somebody that picks up that Ring of the Teacher go for the Guardian Ring first. You think that's what that's for?
Yeah, probably, unless he's going for Chalice or something, which maybe, it's hard to say. He did go with sort of an awkward build here, getting a massive amount of treaters, just so he can stay in XP range against the Silhouette. Surprised he didn't even pick up one health potion if he was picking up that many treaters, but yeah.
Now, down here in the middle lane, there was a bit of a rune race to the top. Creams actually picks that one up onto Prophet. Now, worth noting that Creams is actually in this game. Was not in the last one. Who did Creams replace? Was it Mook? No?
He replaced Mesty.
Mesty, that's right.
And Mookie's on a little bit of a different role this game instead of the tri-lane support. Maybe they're just sort of like switching it up. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they had some tension. Maybe they're switching it up based on what heroes they're trying. But that wouldn't make any sense because of the lockpick. Maybe it depends on what strat they're trying to run. Maybe they just wanted to mix things up and let both players play. Who knows?
All right. Now, Silhouette is down here and getting his farm on against the Pharaoh, but Prophet making his way up with that Invisor. Now, he does have level 1 Debilitate and level 2 Persecution. Persecution is the stun. Yes, Persecution is the stun. It's always hard with these heroes that are a little bit newer to the competitive scene, getting to know all those names and which one is in fact which. But that Prophet actually makes his way back down the river, not able to execute anything with that Invisor.
Yeah, I've seen Prophet built a number of ways too as well. I know Tralf always talks about preferring the Debilitate skill path for him because it's more guaranteed damage. You're not always sure if you get the Persecution auto attacks off, but
maybe a little bit of trouble here is no, they're going to try to turn it around. Magnus might be in a little bit of trouble. Persecution coming out, but they're not quite able to secure it. Another TP even coming in. GG Sucka is level 6 now on this Pharaoh, and I think once the Glacial Blast cooldown comes back up, no, Tempest is actually out of mana, and he's going to have to back off. So we'll see. What is this Pharaoh doing here? He's actually gone for a Blood Chalice.
Yeah, excellent play there by Slicks too, using that Steam Bath and then immediately juking left to dodge the Fade Stun. If he had not done that, that would have gone a lot better for Fortune Bakery, so great play by him.
All right. Silhouette continues to farm well up here. Keizu at 335 GPM. And with Pharaoh evacuating that lane, looks like middle, there might be a little bit of action going on here. Swindlemelon's in some trouble as it looks like the Wrath of the Pharaoh was used. The Hellfire activated. The Tormented Soul going to cancel a health potion. And Swindle going to be able to get out of there with his life. But, that was a close call. Top tower going to be pushed by the Hellborn as well. So going to be able to secure themselves a nice 3,000 gold lead here. Only 7 minutes into the game.
Yeah, already a very powerful start coming here from Vote. There we saw Ophelia, she didn't get too many ganks off this game. By too many, I mean none, but she did rush her level 6 right away, and you saw it come into play almost immediately, serving as sort of like a counter gank there, allowing the Luna to live, so.
Magnus
Pharaoh sorry, go on?
No, go ahead.
No, it was a Pharaoh winded up TPing to mid, trying for that fight where Fade winded up missing the sun, hanging around, wanting to make something happen so he didn't waste his time, and in the end, it just didn't prove to be worth anything.
Magnus runs into Prophet right here, and Magnus picking up the steam boots might try to make something happen, but he's going to be in some trouble now. King Plato on the Draconis is going to spy him out using that Dragon Breath, the Lava Surge, but not going to be far enough as he runs directly into Tempest. The Glacial Blast come out and Creams picks up the first blood there. Prophet going to be able to pick up some boots with that money.
Yep. Much needed first blood coming out here for Fortune Bakery as well. King Plato sitting at 310 GPM. Meanwhile, Keizu, who I believe was in that solo lane, sitting on 370. So it's not the kind of start you want to see. But a lot of that, well, actually, he did take down the top tower, and that is a large part of that. So.
Yeah. For sure. Fade in the middle lane, doing his best, but he's only at 167 GPM right now. Bottom tower going down in favor of the Legion team, so equalizing a little bit more. And now King Plato's team, Fortune Bakery, they were only down by about 500 gold, whereas that was 3,000 just a short while ago.
Yeah. Excellent job neutralizing the game there. I do want to see how these early mid-game fights start to wind up rolling out, because one thing I do really love the initiation coming out of Fortune Bakery. That Fade Pharaoh combination, I've seen it so many times before. I swear to God, this almost feels like a QSQ lineup with Draconis, Pharaoh, and Fade coming out of Fortune Bakery. Those are sort of signature heroes we see a lot of coming out of QSQ. So yeah, I do want to see this aggressive play start coming out here. I know they have the composition for it, and they're going to try to make use of that.
Middle lane, Fade activates the reflection here. She wants to be able to open up on Magnus or Luna, somebody there, but a Ward of Revelation is placed, so they are very well aware of Cookie's actually invis on that Fade. And they shouldn't get caught out by that. Actually, a Burning Shadows does catch Magnus, but not going to be able to follow up on it. But Magnus is going to follow up there. The Emerald Lightning comes out. The Eruption channeled after the Lava Surge. The Power Throw to clean him up. Swindlebuns takes home that kill. Ophelia is here as well with her Minotaurs, and they're going to be looking to try to push this middle tower.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Tempest had just tucked away there to go back to Newting when that all went down. If he was sitting there sort of behind there, maybe they could use that as bait, as an anchor for TPs to come in and maybe turn it around. But yeah, he was just out of reach.
Okay. Mookie's on that Tempest. Like you said, if he was there, if only he had a portal key at 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah, no, if only he had a portal key. As I said, he was sitting there behind Fade for a little bit when Fade was invis. Fade came out. He's like, all right, no gank happening. Going to go back to Newting, which was fine. But that's when Vote did a great job taking advantage of that little time frame provided. They made the right assumption in knowing that Tempest backed out, and they went hard and got the kill. So great job.
Okay.
Actually, maybe due in large part to this ward that Swindle placed behind the tower here.
Yeah, it was actually a very nice ward back there. So getting vision deep there so that they can get the push on middle lane. Nice job. It's always interesting to watch different support players and their different wards. And of course, Swindle is a player that typically was playing a lot of those mid-type heroes, a lot of the initiators, gankers, but now going to be working on that hard support. And Swindle plays a pretty good support. I've seen it from back in the day and returning once again. So interesting to see the different ward locations for all these different players.
Yeah, it's like he's supporting the role that he used to play for the team. So he should know very well how that lane functions and operates already. So it's just sort of switching the character up a little bit.
All right. Now, I was looking at Magnus a moment ago. He did pick up Steam Boots. Now, myself, I cast a lot of complexity games, and B-Kid, whenever he plays that hero, goes for the Ghost Marchers and swears by it. What do you think about the Steam Boots pickup here on Magnus?
I do like Steam Boots on Magnus as well. I think you can make use of either boot. Steam Boots give you a little bit better mana management, a little bit more tankiness when you're going in early game. You're looking at a Fade here and a Pharaoh, as I mentioned before. Lots of AoE damage coming out from Draconis. He probably just doesn't want to be too squishy if he's going against all these AoE nukes. AoE nukes and just strong initiation in general. He wants to be able to survive it. So I think it's fine. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Magnuses do it, and it just depends on the game, in my opinion. I don't think there's one straight-up better option.
I could certainly agree with you on that.
I don't think he's planning on being too ultra-aggressive early game. When you're looking at, things like Pharaoh and Fade once again that can really turn fights around.
All right. So we get the game resumed here, and let's get it on. Silhouette in the top lane has been farming his little heart out. KZU had to do a little bit of a reconnect there, but sitting at 366 GPM, he is quite a bit higher than anybody else in this game, who is, in fact, the Draconis. King Plato down there doing his thing at 310 GPM. Both players going for similar items, Steam Boots, Ring of the Teacher, and that Life Tube. The only difference there is that one of them's got his coat on, feeling a little bit chilly, while one of them is looking like he was born in the cold.
How actually? Okay, Silhouette is about to finish up her. Okay, yeah, the Mystic Vestments is the only difference there, right?
Yes.
So looking
His
otherwise,
coat.
they are.
That's what it's called. You got to get the coat on. That's a sad
Right,
fishism.
right, yep. So appropriate.
A little bit of counter wording going on there mid, as both teams are just kind of posturing.
Now,
the time
one
being.
thing that we like to note when you see a Draconis in the game is whether or not his team is going to be able to stack up the jungle, stack up the Ancients, and let him get that early steroid farm. But we're looking at a hero like Tempest here, who is known for clearing out his jungle in, record time. So he's not going to get a lot of that bonus farm that he might normally be looking at.
Yeah, it's certainly true. And I mean, when you're looking for something like an early portal key, early shrunken head on Tempest, you really kind of want to give him free reign of that jungle so that he can get that. You want to be able to push those towers very quickly. Of course, actually, action coming in here mid. Wrath of the Pharaoh going to catch two players. Skyzo possibly in a little bit of trouble. The ultimate going to be coming out. Catches Magnus as well as that Bubbles, and Magnus is going to be going down as well. It actually looks like there was a return kill onto Fade. Now Draconis. King Plato in a little bit of trouble. It looks like Swindlebots picks that one up with a power throw. Magnus buying back. Slick's going to get right back into the battle. Comes in with a Lava Surge onto the elemental replicates, but nobody else for the time being. Another power throw hitting Tempest. Mookie's gonna have to retreat for the time being, and it looks like Vote is comfortable to maybe keep on pushing here. Looks like they will wait for their creep wave before continuing on further, though.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate. Plato did an excellent job getting in there, getting that kill, but he sort of went up too far, and he wound up getting creep blocked really hard by the Ophelia creeps, by the creep wave, and getting sort of angled off there of what otherwise should have just been a clean, no-risk kill from well-played Tempest ulti. So, a little bit of misplay in positioning there coming out from the Dragon, but I have no doubt he can bounce back still.
Oh, certainly. That's one hero that if you're worried about bouncing back, you probably want to be playing Draconis. That's probably best case scenario. Tempest does pick up the portal key right there. So with those couple of kills, getting credit for one and taking on an assist for another, going to get his portal key, and that will be very useful. Now he doesn't need the jungle nearly as bad as he did before. Might be able to let Draconis have the majority of that so that he can get those essential items up. Most likely looking at something like a Null Stone. Though, you really want to get that Shrunken Head on Tempest if that is what he chooses to go for. You want to get that up relatively fast.
Yeah. If an Ophelia is smart, and not that it totally nullifies it, but one thing to always keep in mind about Ophelia against Tempest is even through Shrunken Head, those Skeleton Kings, the ensnare from them does cancel. It does minis down through the Shrunken Head. So there is always going to be a way for Vote to be able to sort of react to this Tempest hole if the Ophelia sort of micros her Skeleton King well in those fights.
I think he needs a Void Talisman and a Shrunken. That doesn't even work, does it?
Yeah, they don't even stack anymore.
They don't stack anymore.
No.
Yeah, Skeleton King's OP. That's
Skeleton King's very OP here in this game. So,
sure.
That being said, there's ways to get around it. So
Yeah. Magnus grabs a haste rune out of his bottle and then immediately bottles up an invisibility to follow up. So a hasted invisible Magnus, that could be something that is of your nightmares. But no, it's actually here in the bottom lane. Actually looks like he's just going to use the haste for the time being to get a little bit of farm. And then keep on his merry way. Silhouette and Pharaoh back into their respective lanes up here as the top lane looks to be the same as it was quite some time ago. Silhouette just getting her farm on. Currently sitting at 378 GPM, looking pretty strong. Aluna goes in for the tower kill right there, using a red Emerald Lightning, but wasn't quite able to secure that when it does get denied by Cream. So nice job, a little bit of a support battle there.
Yeah, we are seeing Magnus tail through middle lane here, shadowing Creams with his Invis rune and initiating on him.
Yeah, he drops the auto attack. In comes this Shell Surf Song of the Sea, and down goes Creams. The bird is going to fall. Actually, looks like Cookies is going to try to open onto Magnus right there. The Ophelia blessing going to come out, but they actually turn it around. A huge Tempest ultimate going to be coming out, though, but interrupted by Swindle Melons. And now Vote is going to try to turn it around. Pharaoh might be in a little bit of trouble, as well as King Plato. The power throw going to come out. One more auto attack would finish off Tempest, but it's not going to happen. Pharaoh tries to get the last attack onto Ophelia and get that kill, but no, unfortunately is not going to. Lag is being called out as players are disconnecting, and unfortunate that Casey was not in that fight where he might have been able to secure maybe another kill or two.
Yeah, that stun by Swindle Melons and the timing on it just winded up working out so well for him. I'm not sure if you noticed, but Draconis, he was running up there ready to flame breath everyone that was caught in the Tempest hole, just for extra AoE damage, and there were some heroes that were holding on there, living with only about 300 life. But because of that Swindle stun, it was only 1 second down to the Draconis, but it stopped him enough to where, okay, Tempest Hole got canceled afterwards, and by the time Draconis was able to get his frame breath off, he only wound up, I think, hitting one hero with it, and that was the hero that wound up killing the Magnus, I believe. So yeah, great stun there coming out from him.
Yeah, Swindle Melon's playing very, very well in this series. I mean, when I heard that Swindle was going to be stepping down into a more support role for at least this weekend, I was a little bit skeptical. I asked around, and people were saying, he plays a pretty good support, and I've seen it back in the day in the in-houses and stuff like that. But you know what? He's doing an excellent job here on Luna, getting a decent amount of farm at 201 GPM, actually out-farming the Suicide Bubbles here as the Aluna just because of his kill involvement.
Yeah. It's a perfect game so far coming out from him. We saw the Steam Boots, by the way, coming on into great use. I mean, he died in the end, but it did make him survive with an extra couple hundred life, gave him a little bit of extra juice where he was able to stun out, get an extra stun off there, and, they had to chase him a little bit further there to secure even the kill on him. So we saw the Steam Boots actually doing work in that fight.
I could agree with that one. Magnus not quite able to get out of there with his life, but held on to it for a short time longer. Now, hopefully, going to be getting the players back into this game relatively soon. There's claims of DDoS being thrown around, but hopefully they get all that sorted out. And it was a very nice Ophelia's gift, the heal coming out of Z-Freak to try to save Magnus there. Slicks, like you mentioned, he survived for just long enough to force the other team to overextend a little bit and give up just a tiny bit of position, and for Swindle to get there and interrupt that Tempest ultimate. So it's really a concert of things from Vote that ended up having that fight go their way. Now it looks like Fortune Bakery going to have to back off, get their regen on, as they find themselves down 3,000 gold and 2,000 experience here at 15 minutes into this game.
Yeah, I've got to give a shout out to Mookies as well. Excellent. I mean, obviously the fights have not been going the best for them, but excellent timed, well-placed Elemental Voids this game coming out from his Tempest.
I could agree with that. He's had two great ones in the middle lane, and of course that one up there at the jungle that we just saw, all the Ancients, of course. So nice job on that one. Now Draconis fallen behind a little bit here. He's at 343 GPM. Although KZU, he's been dealing with this lag, but he's at 374 now. Draconis, is he going to be able to catch back up and get himself to the point where he's volatile in this game once again?
I mean, yeah, he's still neck and neck with Silhouette. He's missing his vestments, but other than that, sure, he's doing great. I think what we're sort of looking at here, yeah, it does suck that he's been going into these team fights, though, and dying as the carry, where KZU, has been doing just fine. He's either been not there at the fight and thus not dying while farming a lane during that entire moment, giving him that extra boost, or being involved and just edging out. So, yeah, definitely you never want to see your carry drop while the other team's one is still, fresh and new.
That's true. Both of them going for that Null Stone, of course. Should be a very useful item to have, enable both of these carries to keep their farm going. Now, Magnus is going to be picking up his portal key here, as Bubbles picks up not a portal key. It's actually interesting. Bubbles is going for quite a few other items before stepping into that portal key, which, I mean, that's not necessarily
If
bad.
I'm looking at Skyzo here, I would be shocked if I actually saw him pick up the portal key.
Yeah, that's
against
true.
the Pharaoh, which already lends itself to being
Yeah,
more of a
push
tablet
stick,
game
yeah,
in the
for
first
sure.
place. But in general, Skyzo seems to never get portal key on Bubbles. Yeah, I always see him go tablet instead, so.
Yeah, a few people refer to that as the European Bubbles build, where you pick that tablet up first, but going to be using that one. Another pawn is going to be coming out as... Oh, this is relatively unfortunate. I mean, Vote seems to have these problems all the time. You can see the Honcast guys bailing out of this one, as both of the winners semifinals that are going on right now seem to be having some internet issues, and I think they're going to be going back to Cast Complexity versus TDM now. So, guys, if you're looking to find that game, you might want to check over there at Honcast. They might be broadcasting that one. Bryce and I, of course, will be bringing you the replays a little bit later on tonight for those of you that do choose to stay here.
Yep. I was thinking about why we see the tablet so much more compared to a portal key, which Blink Dagger, I should say, in Dota, which is almost always picked up on Puck in that game. You know, the Bubbles equivalent, and you know, part of it maybe why tablet's a little bit more viable in HoN as a go-to route. I mean, I still do prefer the portal key, but part of it's maybe because Shell Surf is just so fast in this game. It's a lot harder to dodge. It does get you to where you need to go quicker, and it's still a little bit easier to initiate with. So maybe that plays a role into it as well.
Now, I'm just trying to read through the chat about what these guys are talking about, but this is rough. I mean, Vote, they've had their experiences with DDoS in the past, of course, with Z-Freak and Swindlemelons both being targeted by that, members of the same household. And now Keizu, all the way in Germany, opposite side of the world, being targeted. It's very unfortunate that they're having to go through this, but hopefully he's going to be able to get something resolved here, or we might be seeing a remake. I don't know what's going to be going on just yet, but it's really unfortunate because I want to be able to cast Vote games, and I'm sure Honcast does as well, but it seems like every time you stream these games, these guys get targeted down. It's almost getting to the point where it's like, oh, Vote's just never going to get cast.
Yeah, well, you saw Swindle and Z-Freak. They did use protective measures from now on, so they are
always use protection. Yeah.
What's up?
Always use protection.
Always use protection. Is basically the moral of the story. So they just need to get, sort of Keizu guarded up here. Maybe get their team off Skype, whatever it takes, and hopefully in the near future, I'm sure they don't want to, continue this onslaught. Maybe, Swindle and his brother can help him out a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. The game getting unpaused here. Hopefully Keizu has that resolved, but if they don't, we'll have to deal with that when we deal with that. Four players of the Hellborn team gathering up here. Actually, Magmus going in, using that newfound portal key, as in comes the Bubbles as well. Shell Surf, Song of the Sea, Kelpfield going to go down. They want to be able to take out Pharaoh, and last hit does go there. 2 slicks on that Magmus. 1 TP going to be coming in, canceled though, as 2 players have already fallen at this bottom tower, and it looks like it's going to be given up nice and easy to the Hellborn team.
Yeah, it sort of looked like they caught him flat-footed right there after the pause was over. It was paused for so long. They were talking back and forth. They probably just lost a little bit of track of where they were at positioning-wise, and they weren't expecting a gank coming off literally a moment, instant second right after the pause came out. So, yeah, that was rough.
It always is rough with those long pauses that you can forget that. And you do what you got to do to win. You don't pause for that. And, of course, we do know that they were experiencing internet issues. It was not a pause so they could throw them off like that. TP's going to be coming in here bottom lane, though. Pharaoh going to make his way in. We'll see if the Wrath of the Pharaoh is used. He's getting locked down currently by the Ophelia. Tempest going to come in with a big elemental void, but the Portal Key Lava Surge in Wrath of the Pharaoh being applied. Mummies being put up as well. But 2 players down for the Legion team. They're trying to get Prophet as well. Nice tree grapple to interrupt the TP on out. And now they're going to be turning their attention toward King Plato on this Draconis. A nice Burning Shadow is going to keep Ophelia back here, but that's not what you got to worry about. The Minotaur and the Skeleton King, of course, are the important things. A nice breath, though, from the Draconis. The Dragon Flame being able to push that one back. And Magmus doesn't look like he's going to have the mana to land another stun plus Portal Key. So he's just going to back on off.
Yeah, for sure. In 1 second to actually keep getting spam Skype calls on my pad. Let me go and do not disturb real quick here. One thing I was going to say is Silhouette versus Draconis is an equal farm game. I always sort of prefer the Silhouette. Seems to do a little bit more in those team fights, providing the stun. She goes Portal Key, gets that initiation off. I think Draconis's main strength is sort of once again his steroid farm, how quickly he can farm stacks, how quickly he can sort of overcome the enemy team with just such a huge early game farm advantage. And in a game like this where Silhouette's actually leading the pack, I gotta say I do think she's the stronger carry.
Yeah, well, I could certainly agree with you there. Keizu is leading by about 15, 10 GPM right now, but nothing too significant. Okay, we've got to talk about this real quick. I believe that might have been the 6th pause. Either 5 or 6 for sure.
Okay, this one did come out of cookies though.
Yeah, but does each player get 3 pauses? And
no, I just meant that each team does. I just meant this pause was not because of the DDoS.
No, I'm aware, but I'm just saying, like, if they're still having troubles, I think this might be the last pause of the game.
Yeah, so hopefully we're not looking at, not even gonna say it actually.
Yeah, I can't remember. They might have changed something. I know that you don't require vote for pause here in tournament mode anymore, but I couldn't remember if they gave 10 pauses per team or not, or if that change got reverted or something along those lines. But we'll have to see. Anyway, Swindlemelon's, oh my god, look at his farm. He's doing so well for himself. And gets the Strider's power supply, Grave Locket, wards, of course, with the Homecoming Stone, and even manages to pick up a Bound Eye. So going to be very useful for him in that counter warding.
I think that's about... all in jest here, of course, but I think that's about 3 times the farm on a support that I normally see coming out of Nova, even in a game that's going well. I feel like every time you look at Nova, he's sitting on red boots and, a couple of wards. Grave Locket, power supply. You never even get to see those items come out on him because he's totally selfless in that role.
I would agree with you on that one, except earlier today, Glacius, Nova, Game 1 of QSQ versus One Trick Pony. He got a portal key.
Oh my god.
You need to watch that series, man.
I need to re-examine everything I know about this world, pretty much, period, from here on. Too.
He was a very wealthy man.
I don't believe you're lying to me.
No, I'm not.
I don't even need to look at it. I already know it.
No, the next game, he was back to his roots. I'm pretty sure he didn't even have boots at 20 minutes in. But, yeah, he had a portal key on Glacius, and he was manning up. He was initiating with Tundra Blast and Ice Imprisonments and just getting himself, like, blinking into trees and then using his Glacial Downpour, like, around people. He was manning up with that, and it was an awesome game. But, you know what? Nova got quite a bit of farm, kind of about the same amount of farm, maybe a little bit more than Swindle's gotten in this game. But that was also, it was pretty late into the game, probably 35 minutes or so when Nova picked that portal key up.
Yeah, well, I never would have believed to see the day. Awesome.
So, hopefully we'll be clearing this this pause up relatively soon. If we actually look right here, they're trying to figure out if they're ready or not. But on the Tempest, we do see the Mighty Blade has been picked up. Mookie's has been having a fantastic game. I mean, even if the rest of his team has not been doing phenomenally, if they've kind of walked into a few bad team fights, the Tempest Elemental Voids have been absolutely fantastic. And picking up that Mighty Blade to complement his Portal Key Strider's Mana Ring, he's going to be making his way toward a Shrunken Head. If he can get that by, say, 30 minutes into the game, they could very well set up some big team fights as long as they don't get interrupted by those Skeleton Kings.
Yeah, for sure. The potential is still there, as it usually is with a hero like Tempest. And I've got to say, Mookie's, a lot of times you see Tempest, they're having a good game, but their team is getting crushed. And sort of because the Tempest wasn't really active, he's just been sitting there static farming, and it's not really reflective. But this game, they're not losing right now because of an absence of Mookie's. He's just doing that good of a job. That he still has his farm, he's still contributing as much as he can, and he's, well on his way to a Shrunken, so.
Aluna with the Striders active over here, just running around with that Bound Eye, has the Courier flying around and actually stops just before, if he had gone an inch further, he would have seen that that ward. does place one well within the vision of Cream's ward. So Cream's on that profit. I'm sure he'll be flying out a Rev ward to get that one countered very soon here. Actually, Aluna does find the correct one, so gets that ward down. And it looks like Hellborn team going to take Kongor now with that vision cleared.
Yeah, for sure. Already we're looking at... Okay, actually, we didn't even see a counter ward come out onto Creams here. He just bought a Ward of Sight, so...
Now, the Pharaoh Rocket, Tormented Soul, did in fact spot out Kongor being done, but unfortunately not able to finish that one off. Z-Freak, wait until the last minute before using the Ophelia's gift, does not have a Staff of the Masters or even any inclination to build one in this game. So has to hold on to that one a little bit more. Actually, they're going to catch out the Pharaoh right here. I was going to say, why did he just die so fast? But in fact, that was an illusion.
Yeah, you know, interesting to note too, we're looking at Pharaoh, who has to go up against the Mag, has to go up against the Bubbles, a Silhouette too. 3 heroes already that can sort of, you know, escape his mummy wall. And then we're looking at 2 tablets on top of that, so we have 5 ways in which people can escape those Pharaoh walls.
Oh, could be some initiation coming in right here. The Dragon's going to make his way toward the front. A big Tempest Elemental Void, but immediately canceled. Magnus is charging up the ultimate, but a nice Burning Shadows hitting 3 people, canceling the Magnus ultimate. It looks like V0TE's getting the worst end of this, as the Silhouette will be coming back up. The Reflection activated by Fade, although there's a Ward of Revelation down. Silhouette trying to turn this one around, but it looks like Fortune Bakery might have been able to kill the Bubbles, pop the token, save their Ancients, and get out of there with only losing the Pharaoh.
Yeah, excellent fight there coming out from Fortune Bakery. I actually thought they were going to lose that one at first. It looked like it was going pretty rough, but excellent follow-up there by the Pharaoh, and hey, good job. I actually didn't notice right away that they took the token. That turned out very well for them.
Yeah, very nice.
Great job by Luna once again canceling the Tempest Elemental Void pretty much as soon as it was cast. As we were talking before, he really does need to get that Shrunken Head out.
Now, talking about Swindle Balance on that Fade, when we were casting that game against Orange Esports last week, Portal Key once again being picked up by Fade here on Cookies. So if he was to get that Bound Eye, he'd be looking pretty and be able to really control that map, as there's a ton of wards and counter wards out on the field by Swindle Balance and Z-Freak.
Yeah, and he's only a few hundred gold off. I'm pretty sure that's going to be his next pickup. That's usually what you do when you're with a Fade. Or he'll look to try to maybe claim the Lunas, although...
I just did a ping all Kzu's at 900 ping right now. 970. Silhouette, Portal Key's on out of there, has to use the Shadow, does not want to get caught. Magnus is going to be coming in though, and Draconis could be in a little bit of trouble if they try to turn this one around. Aluna is there for the flank, but they don't want to lose. Oh, the Wrath of the Pharaoh misses right there. A nice Lava Surge coming out from Magnus, getting 3 of them. The Bound Eye is recovered by Tempest though, as Aluna does in fact fall, and now V0TE's going to have to get out of there. They're 3 on 4, but no, Silhouette gets caught in the mummy wall, uses the tree grapple, the ultimate being interrupted once again, and Magnus is going to go down. Fortune Bakery getting the better end of things here, as Silhouette's trying to get something done, but I'm sure that lag is preventing him from really taking advantage, and Ophelia getting caught out by the wall right there. Magnus comes back in. Bubble's going to join the Shellstar Song of the Sea combo. We'll see, does he use the Kelp Field as well? And in fact, it is going to go down. Magnus Slicks is doing his best to get out of there. He in fact did buy back for the 2nd time. A pause going to be coming out again, and this is the last pause in the game.
Yeah.
It's a rough situation right now.
Yeah, I don't want to show bias. I do understand Fortune Bakery not pausing right away. Magnus did blink stun in, and then like a second later, they're like, pause, pause, pause. It's like...
Yeah, it's a rough situation. There's no pauses left for V0TE. Clearly, their carry player is being DDoSed. I did the ping all right there, showing near 1,000 ping. I mean, it tops out at 999, so it could have even been higher. But it's a really, really rough situation right now for these players, as that's the last pause in the game. So now, if anybody on Fortune Bakery gets disconnected, they don't have that, and they didn't want to give up their last pause. because
Yeah, I know.
their
It's
players
a
are
bit
lacking
rough
as well.
situation. I do feel like, I mean, yes, they did ask for a pause, but once again, the Magnus did initiate the fight. I know when fights are going on, I have a hard time reading chat. It does really suck. It must have been really frustrating. So I don't blame Vote for getting really upset about what just went down. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, guys, hold on just 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and put the score screen back up while we try to figure this out.
Oh, maybe I don't even know. I don't want to give any. I'm not sure exactly how that went down. All I know it is a really unfortunate situation. Vote was looking relatively strong in this game.
All right, guys. Well, unfortunately, we're being asked by the players to leave the game. You might recall in the situation with HoN Tour last week when Vote was once again being DDoSed, and HoNcast actually had to turn the stream off, cast the replays, and we're in that same situation now. Vote being DDoSed once again, and so we're gonna sit out of the game, hoping that in the spirit of competition they'll be able to finish that one out. But guys, we won't be able to continue coverage in this game. I'm very sorry. There's simply nothing that I can do, nothing that Prize and I can do about this. There's somebody out there that's hell-bent on trying to make the HoN competitive scene pay for something, and so we're not going to be able to cover this game.